Tonight's episode of the 31st Lap Podcast is brought to you by DirtTrackDigest.com. If it's on dirt, it's on Dirt Track Digest.
This is the 31st Lap Podcast, recorded live in the studios of FingerLakes1.com in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now, your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon, good evening. Episode number 151 of the 31st Lap on deck. Mike Mallett is joining me via the Skype hotline. We saw there in the opening sequence a number of pictures from the Moody Mile. So, Stu Friesen reveling in a victory. We've got pictures of the infield loaded with cars, and we're going to talk a little bit tonight if those days, in fact, could be all over at the Moody Mile. Going to bring in Mike Mallett now with a beautiful picture from DC. You said that you won in a bet.
Yeah, images by DC. It was a dart bet. He didn't win.
And
needless to say.
Now the car.
Next week I could bring the wing in. I guess that was what he wanted, that he could have won, that he didn't win.
And Mike with Dirt Track Digest a buzz. A lot of free advertising, if nothing else, for Dirt Car and Dirt Motorsports and Super Dirt Week over the last couple of days, as news has broken that the grandstands of the Syracuse fairgrounds have, as aged as they are, a lot of history happening in front of them, are slated to possibly be destroyed to make room for an amphitheater on that same premise right there on the shore of the lake, which would then thus eliminate the function of the Moody Mile as a racetrack. It'd also be an equestrian center, I guess, in some of the proposed stuff. Again, none of this is locked in stone at this juncture, but a lot of people reacting as if it was locked in stone, permanent, done deal. And Mike, we talked a little bit about it before we got going with the program tonight on episode number 151. What are some of your thoughts right off the top?
Well, again, nothing's a done deal in it. If you know anything in government, it's never done till it's done. Right. So I wouldn't. I'm not going to say 100% for sure that this is a done deal. The amphitheater, that's a done deal. More than likely, I believe they've already started work on that, or planning to start work here in the next few weeks on the lake shore, Onondaga Lake. Yeah, we'll call it Onondaga Lake, right here near the fairgrounds. So the new amphitheater actually won't be at the fairgrounds. Of course, it'll be a whole separate entity, I believe, run by Onondaga County. Which makes it interesting is now you've kind of got the county stepping in here at the fairgrounds, and then they're debating with the state. There's a $50 million grant. I guess it's burning a hole in Governor Cuomo's pocket, and Jody Mahoney, our county executive here in Onondaga County, wants to spend that, if you will. And her plan, of course, like you said, Chris, was to build an equestrian center and a hockey rink. Let's not forget
That's
that,
right,
and an RV park,
rink,
which I don't know why we would need 1,000 spots for camping if we don't have racing there, but.
Well, the
what happens with it? Who knows?
Yeah, the amphitheater.
At this point, it's a wait and see.
Right. The amphitheater is situated across the road from the fairgrounds, which I mean that in and of itself draws a bunch of questions. Is why would you put the amphitheater across the street from the fairgrounds? Because now you don't have to go to the state fair to enjoy the concerts at the state fair.
That's always been my thing. I mean, I don't go to the fair much as it is, so I can't really comment. I go about once a year to the state fair, maybe. I think a couple years ago I went twice, but I mean I've lived here nearly 10 years now, and I think I've gone 3 times. So I'm not a state fair guy, so to say anything about the fair. I do know I got a lot of buddies that the only time they decide to go to the fair is...
Stop a second. Stop. We need to back this up. Just pump the brakes for a second.
Yeah.
You did go to the Collective Soul concert.
Yeah, that was like 2 years ago. 3 years ago? Yeah, with Bombas.
And how much were
that was the last time I was at the fair.
How much were the tickets to that one again?
I think it was $10 to get in, and and it was free. So there you go. So that's why I went to the fair. So I paid my $10 to get in, and that was that. I enjoy the fair. Don't get me wrong. I had a good time when I went with my friend Casey, Bombas, DC and Christine, and so on. It was a great time. But I'm just not a fair guy. Just don't do it. I mean, the food's great, whatever. But I don't know. I got a lot of other stuff to do at the end of August. But like I was saying, I mean, I got a lot of friends that go, and they only go for the concert. So what happens when you move the concerts out of the fair? What happens to fair attendants? Where do those people go? They're not going to walk down through the Midway if they don't have to go to the fairground or to the big grandstands to see the concert. So now what do you do? So that's my question.
I mean, I'm wondering also about the effects that it's going to have. There is a hockey shop on the fairgrounds now, as it exists. in the basement of one of the buildings. I remember going in there. It's a skate shop type place where you can get blades and stuff. Along those lines, they had all sorts of pee-wee hockey and things along those lines as well. I also wonder what this is going to do to the Syracuse Nationals if this comes through. They've got 8,000 cars from all over the place that come in and exhibit there for a weekend in the middle of July. So that's going to have some reaching effects as well.
I mean, I'd like to see them make down to the profitability of it. I mean, my whole thing is, they want to build this Main Street, this whatever. All these things are great wishful thinking. They seem like great ideas, but ultimately, how does that improve the economy of the area?
Well,
you look at Super Dirt Week. I mean, what do you get? 12 to 20,000 more people on average, say, in the area that normally wouldn't be here, that come in, they stay in hotels, they do all those things. They go shopping at local businesses, they do all that stuff during Super Dirt Week, and that's a huge cash influx. Plus you're not even counting what the state makes off the lease agreement with Dirt Car, which I don't even know what that number is. So yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's a huge number, but still, at the end of the day, how many other big events do you have at the fairgrounds that draw that kind of income?
Well, I think we just hit the 3.
Yeah, the State Fair, Syracuse Nationals, and that. I mean, they got tractor shows and farm shows and all that. But don't tell me that the amount of people that go to those is bigger than that goes to Super Dirt Week. I mean, that whole grounds is full of campers during Super Dirt Week.
Full. I mean,
yeah.
Have you ever tried to get a car around on the infield during Super Dirt Week?
Yeah, it's pain in the ass.
There's no place to even park.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. I mean, again, if they want to do it, they're going to do it. I just don't see economically how an equestrian center and another hockey rink and some RV spots are going to bring in more revenue for the area as a whole than Super Dirt Week does. But again, politicians will do what they want to do. I mean, to me, it just seems like a political ploy because the governor is upset with the city of Syracuse and doesn't want to give them any money. So this is almost like hey, we'll spend it over here and not in Syracuse itself.
Right.
So, right. I mean, again, that's my reaction to it because they are not on the best terms, and the mayor of Syracuse has asked for money to help Syracuse's infrastructure. I'm talking Syracuse the city, not Syracuse the fairgrounds. To assist with some of the leaky pipes and the broken water mains and all those various things. And the governor's like, nope, I'm not spending money on that. So,
right.
But yeah, we'll spend $50 million on rebuilding the fairgrounds. I mean, I understand at some point the grandstands need to be worked on anyways. They need upkeep. They need whatever, right. Restoration, I guess, is the term for it. I don't even know. I personally don't think they're that bad, but I don't know all the ins and outs of that whole process. So, again, I hope this isn't it. As much as I joke about not being a fan of Super Dirt Week just because of the work and all of that, it still would be a shame to lose the mile because it is still an experience for the thousands of people that go there.
Yeah, unlike any other.
Right. I mean, you can't get that anywhere else. I go to the Knoxville Nationals. I go to the Williams Grove for the National Open. Those are big events, and those have their own atmosphere in their own right. Super Dirt Week's the only one of those, though, where everyone stays in the same place. Mm-hmm. 90% of the campers that are in, 90% of the fans that are here for that event are all camping. Maybe that's a made-up number. Okay, so even if it's 75%, whatever, are all right there on the fairgrounds.
Right.
And you don't get any other event where there's that many people in one place, hanging out, having a good time, enjoying, the event.
The spectacle.
Yeah, I mean, again, the National Open is great. There's a ton of people at that.
There was a mile
track. I don't think there's the amount of campers there that you'll get at Super Dirt Week.
ARCA used to go to a mile dirt track in the Midwest.
Springfield?
I'd say it might be. It was in, I can't remember where.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember where, but there was is it a fairgrounds, mm-hmm. and they used to go there. But I mean, the number of mile dirt tracks are obviously it's dwindling, and we'll dive into that in a minute about where would you go otherwise. Getting a note here. Getting a note from Jim Sinacropi. I gotta make sure that I get a right file to load here after our show's over with. Our executive producer sending me notes here.
Jim working on the fly.
Yep. They're trying to get some stuff up for the high school basketball program, and I got to load a file here, get it started because it's a pretty sizable file. But on the plus, how do you feel about ice hockey, Mike? How do you feel about ice hockey or horses?
I'm an ice hockey guy.
Yeah.
I like ice hockey.
Well, on the plus side, when Cuomo brings in an outside source to determine that you're an ineffective teacher and you lose your job, you can go work for the ice hockey place.
Yeah, and make a quarter of the amount of money and have no time off.
But think of all the spare time you'll have to dedicate to Dirt Track Digest. Yes, no, maybe?
Yeah, full time. Yeah, full time. I had somebody ask me that the other day, like, what do you do? Dirt Track Digest full time, that's great. I'm like, I wish it was full time.
Yeah, not.
It is a hobby.
Well,
It's a business that's getting better, but it's
a monster. I gotta imagine it's a monster.
times when it's a monster. At times it's work,
Right. I mean, all good things require effort, Mike.
Yeah.
So
It's effort.
So if the mile goes away, what happens to Super Dirt Week? Do we lose Super Dirt Week? Do we move it someplace else? What do you think the step is? That's been another the second half of this.
I don't know.
debate.
I mean, we've seen some great ideas, but again, I don't
some
think
really good ideas, to be honest.
I think a Speed Week thing would be awesome. I think that's all great and all, but again, where do you?
The comparison to Hell Week, I liked.
Yeah, Hell Tour. That's 29 dates in 31 days or whatever it is. So,
I don't think we need to do that, but
that would be awesome.
I think it's pretty cool.
I've done my own personal Hell Tour, and it is a lot of work,
yes.
but it's fun. I did what did I do last year? 19 races in 20 days or whatever it was, or 21 races in 22 days, whatever it was. But yeah, no, it's definitely going to be some. You can plan it out and you can do all that cool stuff that they're talking. Run 8 nights in a row. You know what I mean? At 8 different racetracks. But ultimately, you're not going to have the same experience that you would have it as you do at Super Dirt Week.
Mm-hmm.
Again, because not everybody's going to camp in the same spot, and not everybody's going to do all that. So that's where you get the problem.
Well, you're not going to find someplace that's got the space to do it. I don't think. I think that's the biggest culprit.
Well, you're not. There's no way to do the race the same way if you do it somewhere else.
No,
how are you? You can't. I just don't see how that would be feasible.
It's going to be back to Super Dirt Week 1, where you got to recreate the whole thing. You got to recreate the format.
Right.
It's going to lose
a
lot of that.
Figure out where you're going to be at what track. Is it going to be a 7 nights in a row of modified racing, capped off with a 200-lap race somewhere, or what are you going to do?
And how many tracks?
Ultimately, it kind of sucks because it would be. You know what? We can all admit that the racing would be better if they did that. Without a doubt, because some of the racing at the mile is not the best. But guys once they're locked in, they don't take the risk to pull out a line or take the extra shot.
In the first 775 laps, yeah, I agree with that. But the last couple of years, we've had some pretty good racing going down.
I'm not saying the
last couple of years.
I'm not saying that. Yeah, but again, it's a lot different than 100 laps at Brewerton.
I'll go with you on that.
The thing that sucks is you lose the prestige of winning on the mile. That's
right.
That happens once a year. That's it. It's the mile. It's the biggest thing in dirt modified racing. You can say the World Finals is bigger, sure, whatever. You can say all those events are bigger, but to a modified driver to win on the mile is still the most important thing. That makes a career.
And you lose the storylines too. I mean, I love the pit stop stories, and I mean, how many times have we been there with 5 to go, and we're counting when guys pit last, and just kind of guessing at who's going to make it to the end, and sometimes the guy running 3rd or 4th is the guy that had a little bit of he pitted a few laps later, so he's a little bit closer to being good, so he's pushing the pace. A lot of that stuff goes away when you go to someplace. I don't know. I mean, you could just start naming bigger tracks in Central New York, Rolling Wheels, or even Fulton. Fulton isn't going to beat up a set of tires the way Syracuse is. Rolling Wheels isn't going to be as unforgiving on fuel economy when you're doing 200 laps.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can do it at Middletown.
Yeah.
Do love Middletown, but everybody have a fit about that. But I mean, there's just something about the race on the mile. It's special, whether it's good or bad or indifferent. You know what I mean? Right. It doesn't matter. It's still special to win at Syracuse for a driver. And you lose the mile, you lose that, and they'll never. There's however many guys have won it. This could be the last one. I'm not saying this is it, because you never know how anything in politics works. It could change tomorrow. But,
how's that
today, if their plans work, then that's it.
How's that new hat fit now, Mike Perotti?
Yeah, I actually chatted with him yesterday.
How's
I
he
got
doing?
a story up on Dirt Track Digest. I mean, he didn't really have any details on it, so
No, nobody does. Really? I mean, other than
he
what's
goes,
proposed.
I don't want to see it go away. It'd be a shame. It's an important event for racing. So that was actually one of the questions I asked him in the interview I did.
Right.
So, which I literally just posted as we went on the air. So
I thought I saw that one earlier. Maybe not. There's been a lot of stuff rotating across Dirt Track Digest and Dirt Track Digest Facebook.
Yeah, we've had a
page
lot the
on
last
this
few
topic.
days.
There's been a lot.
Yeah, we've had a lot.
I thought I already saw you guys have one.
Yeah, George and I were talking a couple days ago. George Smith, Outlaw Photo, is one of my co-owners, and we were talking, how there hasn't been that one big news story this offseason. Well, then, bam, here it is.
Yeah, dropped in your lap.
That one kind of got everybody hopping again.
It sure did.
That was a nice boost. But I would prefer it's not for that. But what are you going to do? Other than that, it's snowing in Pennsylvania, which means I'm not going racing this weekend.
No, you're not going racing this weekend.
So
the Glen Donnelly track has come back to the forefront with this as well. Glen Donnelly with the purported track being built in the greater Syracuse area up near
me.
Up near
literally
you.
3 miles to my north.
So, that comes back onto the. I don't mean to keep cutting to you when you're coughing.
I gotta hit the mute button.
Well, you don't have to mute it. I don't want to be cutting to you when you got your head buried in your fist.
I got a little chest cold hair thing going.
I appreciate the fact that you're covering your mouth so I don't get sick.
Yeah, I'm trying. Keeping the germs to myself.
But so what? But, you live up by there. I mean, definitively, what is going on in that neck of the woods?
They're supposedly starting the work. I mean, some things have changed. They've done some good things on there, but who knows? I mean, I know they say it's going to start work in the spring, but are we ever going to have spring?
That's a fair question.
But I got 3 feet of snow in the front yard, but it is what it is.
Yep.
And that and they started clearing things and doing some more work. They finally got some more permits, so we'll know more. I bet you mid-April, early May, you'll know whether or not that deal is reality.
Well, this story has given legs to a couple of different angles at this point. The future of Super Dirt Week. Where's Super Dirt Week going to go if not at Syracuse, if not at the fairgrounds anyway? And it's also brought this Glen Donnelly thing back to the forefront. So conspiracy theorists have a ball with how Glen Donnelly did some kickbacks to Governor Cuomo to get the money apportioned for that equestrian center, so that then Super Dirt Week can move to his facility, right? Those dots connect.
That's it. That's definitely what's going on right now. Yeah, that's 100% right.
Thank you for that. Thank you for
it just, at the end of the day, I mean, you knew ultimately at some point something was going to happen, just because that's what happens. They never.
What do you mean something was going to happen?
They always want to change things. It's just how it goes, especially with something like the racetrack.
What do you mean
with the mile?
Okay.
And the fairgrounds in general. It's not like that's utilized year round, and it's not like that facility is utilized for 10 races a year. The state sees their revenue once a month. The county, whoever gets it, once a month, and then from there it's just or once a year, whatever it is, and then that's that.
Right.
So, if they see a way to, all they see is the dollar sign, like the tax. If I can find a way to make more money off taxes by having this open year round for horses and this and this and this and this, then I'm going to do it. And that's ultimately all they care about. They care about the dime and the coffers of the government. That's it.
I mean, but at the same time, devil's advocate side, it is still a business.
No, I get it.
I don't like it, but it is still a business. And it's not always run the right way.
I mean, it's a thin line there between the two. I mean, I get, there's a lot of things that are a business, but tradition is tradition.
Is there enough voice in the modified community to catch the ear of this and potentially sway it? Do you think? I mean,
I think everybody's got to do something. I don't think it can be one or two people.
No, there's not going to be.
I think it's not going to be a mass influx of emails and phone calls to your local your representatives, and the governor's office. Not that the governor gives a crap about anybody, but whatever. But Don't get me. I don't want to go into politics on a racing show.
I know.
You know.
I know this is something that means a lot to you. The
Yeah, don't get me
politics
going
side
on
of
politics. I do.
And
You
we
know,
don't,
I could get going, but ultimately
I
they're
do
going to do
enjoy
what
it.
they want to do.
I don't
You know,
agree.
if they can get some support or more people against it than for it, then that's a good thing. One thing I thought was interesting. We were listening to the radio, the local radio show here in Central New York on the way home. A guy by the name of Bob Lonsberry, and he was talking about the very same issue
Right.
we're talking about now. And he had someone actually call in and say, the only reason I even go to the fairgrounds is because of racing. Other than that, I don't go to the fair. I don't go to any other stuff. The only reason I go to the fairgrounds is for the dirt racing and Super Dirt Week.
Right.
And he goes, that's the only reason all those people come here. You get rid of that in Syracuse and you get rid of all of that, all of that presence of the folks that you bring in October, that boost for all those businesses around, as we said, you're getting rid of all of that so you can have some horse riders and some hockey games.
The new home of the Syracuse Crunch.
Well, that's the other thing they've been talking about.
Yep.
Is the arena going to be big enough for that? I don't see. How can you build $50 million? What's that buy you nowadays? A seat in one of these arenas? You know what I mean? We're not talking I don't see how you're building a new war memorial for $50 million. It's just not happening. But
I don't see it. It is interesting. I don't always agree with a lot of your politics, and I don't always follow politics nearly as close as you do, Mike. But I tell you what, it is a lot of fun when you get wound up on them in private circles. Yeah. I do get a kick out of that.
Yeah, I enjoy politics. I enjoy reading about politics. I read politics daily.
Is that why you're so deeply involved?
And this really isn't. And this really isn't a Democrat-Republican issue. I mean, this is a little bit of both. Both sides. It's not one or the other. This is a simple dollars and cents. Spending $50 million to. I don't know why we need. Me personally, I don't know why there's so many other things that we could spend $50 million on.
Right.
That are far more beneficial for the state or for the local communities than building something at the fairgrounds that's going to get used by a few people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that's me. And of course I'm biased because I'm a racing guy, so that right. Taints my opinion. But
it's surprising how much information is kept when you call in just to thank your representative for support. And you're right, this isn't going to be one person. It needs to be a unified movement to call and tell your representatives, look, this is what we want. A constituent can call in and say, thank you for your support on what particular issue, or we feel it's important to give your support to this particular issue. And they'll take your name, your information, sometimes they'll even take your home address and your phone number. And they'll just kind of put a tick on the wall. Say, okay, this person called in about this topic. And if you can get, the more ticks you get on the wall that everybody's calling in about this topic, then those are the people that are being heard. So while one side or another may have more voters in it, if that's the quiet voice and they're not heard, the voters that are speaking, that are being heard, are the ones that are calling in saying, look, we can't support this. We've got to make sure that we save Super Dirt Week. Or we got to save the mile at Syracuse for whatever reason. That's kind of the way that the legislators are going to go.
Right. Ultimately, the more support, the better. It's like any of them when they do those town meetings and they want to shut down and put on curfews and do all that. When one person shows up to support the curfew and 750 show up to support the racetrack, even if that's a small sample, it doesn't matter. That's who they go with.
That's who they see. Those are the people in front of you.
Yeah.
Hey, Doug.
Yeah, and those are usually the people that vote, and those are usually the people that do their thing. So again, I mean, I hope it's not true. I would hate to see this be the last Super Dirt Week at the mile. I mean, ultimately, there will be something in its place. Will it be the same? It obviously will not ever be the same if this is the indeed last one. I will say this though: if this is indeed the last one, and it's known before we get to October, it's going to be one hell of a party.
Yeah.
And literally, when it's over, people are going to be tearing down the grandstands.
Yeah. which will only benefit New York in the long run.
Yeah, I'm taking my seat.
This is literally my seat now.
Yeah, literally.
That's funny. True.
So, I mean, so that was obviously the big story of the week. I mean, that whole argument. Now, did you see the other news that came out today? I know we don't talk NASCAR much, but Kurt Busch
No, I did not catch that.
He got exonerated. There was not enough evidence to go forward with the trial for domestic abuse.
Really?
Yeah.
You have any luck with the live chat over there?
No, I gave up on it.
Okay. Yeah, there are some problems right now coming up,
so
unfortunately.
I don't know what was going on there.
But it looks like...
I got a live chat going on Skype with my buddy Ken, but that's it.
Yeah.
He was commenting on Super Dirt Week, and how it's his, it's an event. He goes to see people that he doesn't get to see all year. And that's the same thing we always say, that's why we all go. You see people for that week that you don't get to see any other time of the year.
Right.
So.
Interesting.
But yeah, so Kurt Busch, in theory, exonerated of committing, the crime, because if there's not enough evidence to go to court, the trial, you are innocent of all of doing it. So, sadly, though, at this point, I don't think it matters. His reputation has been ruined more so than he already did to himself, I guess.
Yeah, it ruined, or it's been more ruined.
More ruined, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's the proper terminology. But yeah. So now the question is, how does he get back to NASCAR? I mean, he's got to go through the road to recover. What the hell is he recovering from? What did he do? He didn't. They said he didn't do anything.
Well, I'm sure they're going to send him to some anger management programs again, right? Are they?
He's already done that 17 times.
Are they going to send him to some more sensitivity training?
They can do that again for the 15th time. I mean, what else is going to do to the guy? I mean, I'm not saying he's a nice guy, and I don't support what he did or domestic abuse or any of that. But unfortunately, nowadays, you're guilty until proven innocent. And sadly, she said he did it, and that's what they went with. And the judge said, well, there's probable cause here. We'll investigate it further, and then the probable cause, or whatever you want to call it. That's probably not the right terminology, but I'm not a lawyer. But that's what got him screwed.
Right. Now NASCAR has the opportunity to maintain their position on it too. Right?
Well, they're not letting him back.
Yeah, I mean
there was no timetable for his return.
No, I mean it's not like that's going to be the. It's not like the door was just thrown open and everybody's waiting at the party with open arms.
Yeah. So
interesting turn of events there.
Yep. And then of course.
So he's exonerated at this point. Now, what happens if somebody else steps forward? What happens
like
now?
every other crime that is committed?
Exactly right.
What are we going? Are you going Bill Cosby on this one?
If the shoe fits. I'm not drawing a complete parallel to Bill Cosby, so don't misunderstand that. That's not where I'm going. The alleged rape situations circulating around Bill Cosby are something far more, I think, a little bit more serious and probably far more wide-reaching as those allegations continue to come out of the woodwork. However, what happens if another one or two instances come up that were undocumented in terms of NASCAR's book? Now, look at his history. He does have a history of
being a moron.
Yeah, in so many words, no less.
Whatever. True. He made some stupid choices. He's a hothead and he does stupid things.
Yes, that's covered it all right there.
I got it.
You did.
So
you did. Black Rock Speedway made some announcements.
Yeah, they got their season passes coming out. And if you follow the area auto race news, you see the back cover. Rolling Wheels is going to answer all of your questions this coming weekend. What? Seriously, that's what they said.
Okay.
There's an ad.
Okay.
So can't wait.
Okay. I don't have the area auto racing news at home. I don't get that.
I could go get it, but then I'd have to leave the camera, and I know
I understand.
And it's a long walk, so I should have brought it down. No, but they said supposedly at the motorsports show or next week's area auto, they're going to answer all the questions that everybody has, as purses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So
really, they're going to answer all the questions.
That's what they're saying.
You got a front row seat reserved?
No, I don't believe I have an opportunity to ask any questions.
Now, why would that be?
I don't know. I have no clue.
Now, are you basing that in fact? Or are you making an assumption?
I'm basing that on some knowledge that I have from other conversations they've had with other folks.
So you're not allowed to ask any questions?
I think it's an exclusive to Ariel Racing News, so that's their choice, and if that's what they want to do.
That's all right. That's
I mean,
fair.
I haven't made any friends over there by saying that I don't buy it, but hey, that's my opinion, and I have a right to it. And if they do it, like I've said every time I've said it, if they pull it off, more power to them.
If they pull it off, yes.
If they pull it off, I don't know how it can be done, but if they can do it, great.
Right.
That's it. What else can I say about it? But I'm not necessarily ready to drink the Kool-Aid yet. I mean, I'm not saying anything I haven't already said. I'm not saying it to be mean. It's just, or because I don't like them or have anything against them. I don't. Everybody can say, you can say all you want. It's, in this industry, you have to back it up and prove it. And that's it. If they prove it, great. Then I'm wrong. And I have no problem admitting that I'm wrong. So, you know what I mean?
I do.
I mean, I'll be the first one to say that I was wrong.
You've gone out on the limb.
Pulled it off.
I've seen you go out on the limb on your own, and I've seen you go out on the limb with saw in hand and cut that off right behind you.
Yeah, and you got to do what you got to do.
And you've willingly taken the fall when needed. Yep.
Yeah,
so,
I'll admit that I was wrong.
But
I'll be the first one to say it.
Here's the thing. Let me throw this to you. How happy would you be if you were wrong?
I would. I don't want to.
Don't you? No. Hang on a second. For the
All
betterment
right,
of the sport.
Here we go.
For the betterment of the sport. For the betterment of the story. For all the promises. For the number of times that we've seen this type of thing happen. Would you not welcome the opportunity to be wrong on this?
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I mean, that's fine. There are some benefits to me being wrong. I mean, heck, if they can pay that money, that's awesome.
Sorry.
Again, that's awesome.
I know.
That's amazing. I don't like that they're making the choice to run against other racetracks. I get that they're paying all that money so they can pretty much do whatever they want if that's their choice. But I don't think in the long run that's going to be good for anybody, including them.
Right.
I like the Thursday night schedule. I think that's a great idea because there's not a lot of races on Thursday nights. So that's fine. But when you're running a Friday, Saturday, Sunday against established weekends and races at other places, how much is that going to benefit you? I don't know if they've changed the May 20th date, which was on the original schedule, the run against the Super Dirt Car Series race at Canandaigua. I don't think that's beneficial for anyone either.
Right.
Should
we plan on going every Thursday to Rolling Wheels? You think we should go every Thursday to Rolling Wheels? Take the 31st.
Bring your $20 to pay to get in, because I don't think I'm going to be on the list.
Yeah, that's probably the case.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We finally got something to talk about this off season. Something big. It took a couple.
Yeah.
Took a couple months to get there, but we got something.
Yep, we're there. So, again, we'll see. I'll be interested to see what they have to say on that topic next week, or 2 weeks. And if you're at the car show, stop on down. Next weekend we will be at the motorsports show. Looks like I'm going to have a booth. So
nice.
If you're not doing anything, Chris, feel free to bring the rig down. We could do something from the booth.
All right. Well, that's
possibly.
That's let me look here. That's the week of the 14th, right?
Yep, 14th and 15th, I believe.
14th and 15th.
So Saturday and Sunday. Let me double check. Yeah, 14th and 15th.
Yeah, I just looked it up. Let's talk about that. See what we can do.
Yeah. All right, and I'll also have some DTD garb there if you're looking for some DTD shirts, and
nice.
I believe I'll have some diecast stuff for sale too.
And you got your Brady Bacon shirt on today. No DTD for you?
Yeah, I just wore something a little different. You know what? Actually, this is the first thing I saw. I got sweatpants on. I put my hoodie on. I turned my kerosene heater on, even though my heat's on 70 right now. I was freezing. And I turned it all on, and I just took a nap.
John is in the comfort of his own home right now.
He's watching some racing, which I will do eventually tonight too, because I have Dirt Vision. So
nice.
I'll be watching some Las Vegas as well.
They haven't. They're still a little ways from starting, aren't they?
Well, it's only it's 2-hour difference. So.
No, it's 3 anyway, isn't it?
Oh, 3? No, 2 hours. 2? I believe they're in the central, or no, what is it? Mountain time. They're not Pacific. They're Mountain. So.
All right.
So they're looking at 6 o'clock. So about an hour, probably half an hour to hot laps, heating the engine. So.
Well, I think we'll call this one good. let's talk a little bit about that Syracuse.
We'll try to. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe if we can do the show live there next weekend, we'll take next Thursday off.
Yeah, take Thursday off and go Saturday.
Go live on Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be good because I got to do some testing with some of this stuff anyway. That might work out well.
All right. So
perfect. Well, I think that's gonna do it.
Let's plan on possibly doing that.
Yeah, I'm liking that. I think we should do that.
Okay.
Let's plan on. Whoops. Go ahead and plunk that back on there. Get this situated. There we go. And
you get it figured out over there?
Yeah, I'd adjust a couple things quickly so that we were ready for the outro because I think that's gonna do it for us.
All right, sounds good.
So. Let's talk this week, and we'll get a game plan together for Syracuse. Good conversation tonight. Sorry about the chat room. I'll try and do some groundwork on that and figure out what happened. But otherwise, stay tuned to 31st Lap Facebook page. We appreciate everybody coming on and joining us here tonight, and we'll be catching up with you here pretty soon. Thanks a lot, and we will see you next time right back here on the 31st Lap.